Okay, we'll go ahead and get started then, and you can join in. So I'd like to call to order the June 15th, 2022 regular meeting of the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority. This is the time for, first thing we do is public comment. So if you're here to address the board for a non-agenda item, now would be the time. And just raise your hand if you would like to speak. And I'm seeing none. Okay. Then I will close public comment. Move on to the regular agenda. Item number 3 is the approval of the meeting minutes from May 18th, 2022.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Director Riley.
I'll second.
Second by Director Rosbeck. Any questions or additions or deletions to those minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Item number 4 is expense items. We'll start with the first one. Item A, monthly expenses. These are typical for us and for information purposes only. If you have any questions, I'm sure Daniel will attempt to answer those. Director Riley.
Yeah, just one quick question with what's on the agenda later on. The payment to Decal, is that?
That is from the work that happened mid-April to
Okay.
May. We should anticipate probably one more billing from mid-May to June.
Okay.
But that'll be the last billing.
Got it.
Anything else regarding item A? Okay, I'll move on to item B. I am told that this item needs a motion and approval for this to get paid. Is that correct, Daniel?
To make the purchase and start the process of putting it in for the next edition.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Director Roswick, supported by Director Riley. Does anybody have any questions about this item?
No, I agree with the message for the ad as well.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Moving on to item number 5, siren proposal. We'll start with Daniel briefly, and Daniel can answer some questions, or we have our siren crew here also.
Ultimately, this is what we began discussing back in March when we extended their contract through to the end of June, on June 30th. That ends our fiscal year, and so does that extension. So this is to move forward with them as our strategic public relations firm. Of course, taking out of the scope the newsletter and social media, as that's something I'll be taking over, and adding in a component that's more increased crisis communication. Any further questions? I'm happy to answer them, or our folks from Siren are here in the audience.
Was there anything that you guys wanted to bring to the table? Sure. Please come up.
Hello. Good to see all of you. Okay, well, I just wanted to say that we're excited to talk about renewing our relationship with the Oak DDA for the next 12 months. And the proposal that you all have in front of you was put together as a result of specific requests from Daniel in the areas of strategic communication, media relations, across the board integrated communication council, and crisis communication. We've established a very good working relationship. Kristen specifically and Jorge over here have established a very good working relationship with Daniel. Skill sets complement each other very nicely, and We have some very important goals for the coming year, including increasing foot traffic, or encouraging foot traffic in downtown Royal Oak, positioning downtown Royal Oak as an attractive place to open a business, maintaining that level of trust and transparency with business owners, which is a cornerstone of what we do, by getting them media coverage, communicating with them, holding listening sessions, showing them that the DDA is invested in their success, and ensuring that they feel supported through the DDA's communication channel. So the scope that you see reflects specifically what we've talked about with Daniel, and then last week we were able to present it to Tim and Tony and got feedback from them that this seems like it's on the right path. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Director Riley.
Yeah, just real quick. Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you,
Good.
Matt? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm just going back through everything Daniel answered where I was, because we've, gone from this number to that number to this number. But I think that where we were at is we were at $7,200 a month. Then we added in all the different responsibilities, the newsletter, the social media. Now that's coming out. And you're back at it's around $8,400 a month, and that's due to cost increases and.
That's due to crisis communication being included in this contract,
Okay.
and also Siren's payroll costs
Sure.
and just carrying costs going up. Inflation is a real thing, so
It
that's
is.
part of that. Yeah.
No. Okay. Yep. So, all right, and then just the other thing, Dan, is our placement in the budget, which is we're almost right there, so we'll just have to adjust that. But I think it's coming out of the next item, too.
So,
Not coming out of there, but there's if we were pushing the limits, I think there's a savings coming down the road.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of the other things.
Overall, this is a reduction in the cost that we're paying for the expanded scope and the social media right now.
Correct.
I believe right now that's about $12,000 a month. And so this is a savings considering that I'll be taking part of that scope.
Right. It was we were at 12,350 exactly. Okay.
so I'd like to make a motion to approve the Siren proposal.
Support.
Motion by Director Roswick, supported by Director Brake.
I do have one question.
Director Keith.
Anticipation for the line, the crisis line, is that anticipated to be up and running next month, or do you have a date on when that is looking at being up and running?
Can you specify? Are you speaking about crisis communication, or is there a
It's
number
not a
that's being
physical line.
instituted?
I don't know. In the proposal, it says which we anticipate to be an active service line in the coming year.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
I mean,
that
is
just
that,
means we're providing those services.
okay, so
there
that
isn't
is
like
it's a
there's
new
not
service
like a
for
hotline
you.
or anything.
It's a new
being-
service for your team,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
it will be in play right away.
It's already in play. Yeah.
Thank you.
We just, it's already being done, so we wanted to capture it in the contract.
Great.
I
Okay.
had just one question around, I think the proposal, I looked at it prior to the meeting, and I wanted to just talk with Daniel. We've gone through some iteration of theming around downtown Royal Oak. We had the theme of downtownable somewhat last year. Are we going to continue that thread? And I guess, I know this is a higher level proposal, but I'd like to just make sure that we've created some assets, and I'd love to be able to continue to use some of it.
Yeah, so Downtownable is continuing to be featured on our social media. It remains present in the channels, as well as we've started airing it on WROK, so it's regularly in those loops. The actual videos of Downtownable actually relates to one of the upcoming contracts, which is Bureau later on in the agenda. But Siren, a lot of our conversations focus around big picture strategy. And so in working with them and in their proposal, some of their listening sessions, we're hoping to dial down a little bit more into how we can best build a framework for those advertising dollars. So right now, my intention for the next running advertising is all the things you can do in downtown Royal Oak. And then from there, the strategy that we work out with them will lead through the following campaigns.
Great. Yeah. I appreciate that. Yes, I understood this to be our our framework to, develop the content and the vision forward. I just wanted to make sure, as we do this, we keep a theme line alive for more than a year, because otherwise we're not going to gain any traction with it. So that's just my final
Thank you.
comment.
Any other questions for Lindsay or Daniel? Okay, I just want to be clear, Director Rosbeck, in your motion, are you okay with the suggested resolution that's before us?
Yes.
Because there's some numbers involved there that I would think need to be included in the motion.
Yeah, no, so my motion is
The suggested resolution.
The suggested resolution.
I appreciate that, thank you. Director Brake, you're okay with that, correct?
I concur as well.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing nothing else, I'm going to call for the vote on this item. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Okay. Alrighty. Item number 6, effective TV proposal. This memo's from Daniel. If you have any questions.
So essentially, this is part of that advertising plan that you all approved back in April. In the proposal, if you go ahead and take a look at some of the last couple pages, it lays out 3 different campaign sections. One's summer 2022, one's fall and holidays 22, and one's spring 23. We're just focusing on the summer 22 right now, and that's simply because right now it reaches the target market that we're trying to reach for summer, and we'll want to tweak that and adjust that before we head into the holiday shopping season.
Questions for Daniel? Director Riley.
Just one. I think last year, it was we were about 50,000 on this, or maybe that was
Yes.
our placement. Are we cutting back, or are we getting a better deal?
So basically, last year we went with the same setup where 3 months was about $25,000.
Okay.
The only difference is we didn't follow through with doing campaigns every single quarter.
Got it. Got it.
My one question is the target. Is there any reason why we would not go after, beyond young city solos, family?
Yes. So part of the family targeting is leaning more towards the fall time. And part of that is due to, we have a strong base of young families that already utilize places like Centennial Commons, and that's only due to natural buzz based on the new water feature opening hopefully soon. But as we head into fall and those splash pads and all of the regular things that families do, like going to ice cream shops, kind of died down, then our focus will be to push towards that market to bring them back into downtown for another season.
Understood. The other question I have is on page, I think it's 4 of the presentation, the Detroit market. Because this is cable, is there a reason why we would go so far out to Lapeer County and St. Clair? I mean, St. Clair County I could see, but Lapeer is quite a distance from the downtown area.
For this campaign, we're only activating the Pontiac and Royal Oak zones.
Okay.
For future campaigns, we would discuss that at the Consumer Marketing level committee, or the Consumer Marketing Committee level, to kind of hone in on where we want these messages to be broadcast a little more. So in essence, this one is just the immediate swath that surrounds Royal Oak and brings our closest regional visitors in.
Okay.
Any other
Chairman?
questions for Daniel?
I have a question.
Yes.
So does that mean your entire summer campaign is going to focus just on the single somethings and forget about the entire rest of the population?
This is basically advertising on the channels that those folks go to the
Your other
most.
channels.
I'm sorry?
I meant your other channels.
So this campaign is just going towards young city solos. In speaking with the representatives from Effect TV, there's some crossover in some of these demographics. So your young family parents, which is also our target market, also are enjoying a lot of the same channels that our Young City Solos are enjoying.
Forgetting about this, I'm talking about our other ways we advertise. So I noticed that on social media, our Instagram is all bars and restaurants. No hair salons, no yoga studios, no retail. So the last 2 months, it's bars and restaurants only, and occasionally an event. They didn't even do the last event last weekend, the flower market. What was last weekend? Something.
The Clay and Meadow.
I didn't even mention that.
Clay Fire.
Yeah, but it mentions ice cream shops, and I'm just curious.
So no, that is not the intention, just to focus on those things in social media. Currently building the content calendar for July, and so in working with Siren, moving forward, we'll make sure that the rest of this month they're highlighting more of those things.
We exist as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll
So-
make a motion to approve the
Motion by
resolution.
Director Rosbeck.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Director Keith. Any other questions before we move? Okay, seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay, item number 7, Bureau proposal. Daniel?
So this relates to, as I said, the Downtownable series, something that I learned, moderately over the last couple months is that our folks at Decal were utilizing WROK, who is located over in Berkeley, as their subcontractor to do all of the video and photography work. In working with Decal and WROK collectively, it was determined that Decal's services of the contract were no longer going to be needed since I was going to be taking on content creation. And so working with WROK, we've worked on a scope that we believe matches a good price that matches to what we're trying to get as an output. And we do have some folks from WROK as well. Anthony and Julie, if you'd like to add anything.
Good afternoon. My name's Anthony Moore. I met some of you. This is Julie Bonovich. She's my business partner at Bureau.
Hi.
And we just want to say thank you for the opportunity. And I think that, what we've learned, I think it's been, since last October we started. I think there's a lot of stories to still tell, and we're glad to have the opportunity to do that, especially fulfilling Daniel's vision for it, which I think will be, this setup I think will be a lot easier to work with, and we've been the boots on the ground, and I live in Royal Oak and know it very well, and Julie used to, so anyway, I will stop talking.
Any questions for people from Bureau here?
I just like a layman type question. So we're basically getting the same work, but we're cutting out. Are we cutting out the middleman? Is that kind of what we're doing here? I mean, I'm all for it. Trust me.
We're actually getting more from the scope of service than
Okay.
we were from the previous. The previous only gave us a video, a reel, and 8 still photos. This one's giving us approximately 100 still photos a month to build a repository. That we can share with businesses, as well as conducting those videos. Anthony and I have talked a lot about the next series after Downtownable. We're aiming towards something behind the scenes like Unwrapped, which used to be on Food Network, so taking you behind the scenes of a business and how it operates and how it keeps Royal Oak going. And then additionally, you'll notice there's 2 resolutions in this memo. The second portion is to do the work for commercials that we're hoping to put on Comcast Effect TV, which is what you just considered.
So the 60,000 portion is what we were getting from Decal basically.
Yes.
The 15,000 is production for the commercial, something that we didn't have in any scope of work.
Correct.
Presently. Okay.
And we're modifying.
Very good. Great.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve both resolutions, or if we need to take them separately.
Mike.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
no,
I was getting them up to speed.
I'd like to make the motion to, I don't know if we can bundle these resolutions, but I'd like to move forward to approve the resolutions as written.
I'm going to refer to Director Brake on this. Can these resolutions be combined?
Yeah, it's appropriate.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Director Rosbeck, second by Director London. Any further questions for staff or our guests? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving along. We're doing good.
Ta-da.
Item number 8, MailChimp. Daniel?
MailChimp is what we currently use for our newsletter. Currently, because of some intricacies with the city and working with Tim, we can't necessarily do a monthly subscription on credit card because the subscriptions change, and so the dollar amount changes. So what's great is MailChimp has introduced basically a pay-as-you-go feature, and so we can purchase credits that'll last 12 months. And in fact, if you note in the bottom of the memo, this will actually allow us to experience a savings overall. If we reach our goals of growing the newsletter base, this will allow us to do multiple newsletters a month while spending a fair amount less than we would if we were to purchase a subscription, which we currently pay for in the Siren contract.
Director Roswick.
As you stated that these are annual credits, so if we don't use the credits, do we lose them?
We do.
Okay. It's not a high cost for the credits. So.
No-brainer.
I would recommend to approve this resolution.
Motion by Director Roswick, second by Director Riley. Anybody have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
Daniel's been busy this month.
Yes, he has.
And this is just the iceberg.
Okay, item number...
Those 3 things that saved us money. So
Yeah.
you were not used to this.
Item number 9, Chrome facade grant. I just want to remind the board, this was previously approved by the board, and it's now time, the work has been completed and checked by engineering and our staff, and it's time for the disbursement, and that's what we're voting on today. And it appears the disbursement is coming in at a lower cost than expected.
Yet another savings.
Savings all around.
Move to approve.
I make them,
Yeah.
I second
Motion
the
by
motion.
Director Riley, second by Director Roswick. Director Yezvik.
Yes, I just want to point out that I noticed that Tommy is here from Chrome, and we have 2 of Royal Oak's best retailers, Lori London and Tommy in the same room. It's wonderful. He has an amazing store, always improving it. I'm sure the facade is going to look fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you very much.
Can I suggest something or no?
Sure.
I mentioned to Tony actually about, I've been trying to tell the city for the last at least 10 years I mentioned it. Anybody looked at the garbage cans on the streets? They're actually an eyesore. And I think there's one in front of our store between, the bar next door, the restaurant next door, and ours. And then the ones in the parking lot, they're all rusted, rats under them, they're all worn out. And is something I hope everybody would look at. I know it's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference.
We'll take a look at it. We did.
Physical cans, the ones that they're coming empty.
They're really bad.
We did look at this a few years back, and in fact, we changed some of the dumpsters to a different style. If you look in front of the Starbucks building, you'll see a different style of trash receptacles there, and that's maybe something that the infrastructure committee could take a second look at.
Yeah, they're enclosed and they have a recycling bin and a trash bin.
Oh, good. And then also another thing, we get customers every day, they're like, they don't even know what's on the side streets. And I suggested years ago that on Washington and on Main, at the end of the street, they should make signs, which store is on this street, which store is on that street. And they keep saying, this was years ago, I've been suggesting it, but is something to look at too, because every day we get people say, oh, I don't walk on the street because I don't know what's on these streets. So if
Gotcha.
they could put like signs, that would help out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Item number 10, parking study.
Any other winning street?
This memo comes from Mr. Twing here. I think Daniel has some knowledge here. We're going to start with him.
So when this board approved that motion that's listed at the top unanimously, it was at a cost not to exceed $11,000. In sending the whole scope, that includes, touching base after developments are completed, and I'm sure in addition to some revisions on reviewing electric vehicles and all of the different nuances with Washington Street, the cost came back a bit higher at about $18,400. And so we'd need another motion to approve more funds to have this parking study completed.
Director Yazbek.
I'll make a motion to increase the previously approved amount to cover the difference. The resolution calls for a cost not to exceed $20,000.
Motion by Director Yazbek.
Support.
Supported by Director Brink.
Quick question.
Director Riley.
I'm sure, do we have any idea when the study will be completed?
I believe in the coming weeks and months. We haven't been able to get the ball rolling because we haven't had the funds allocated to complete it.
Okay. All right.
So we'll have a timeline after this vote. Okay.
I mean, so pretty much end of summer.
I don't want to speculate on
okay.
what their timeline will be.
But it's okay.
Perhaps, Daniel, once you know, can you email the board?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we should know pretty soon,
Okay.
where we are in the queue and what the time frame. And furthermore, if they can also give us some preliminary information, if that's possible. I know that the back end parking, would like some kind of informal feedback before they issue a formal report, rather than
that'd be
waiting
great.
several months.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Correct.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the hot buttons.
Okay, so let's see here. I have a motion by Director Yazbek,
No, it was already
Oh.
second.
second by Director Brake.
Sorry.
Is there any other discussion regarding the parking study? Seeing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. There is one more part to this memo. Director Yazbek.
Yes, just we had previously scheduled work session of the DDA and discussed the current status of our parking system and the complaints, the positives, the negatives, and we concluded that out of the different options we considered, perhaps the best direction is to request of the City Commission an ad hoc committee be put together to consider the current status of this new parking system, what the alternatives may be, how the DDA may be helpful in pursuing some of those alternatives. So I would like to make a motion to request the City Commission appoint an ad hoc committee with members of the DDA and the City Commission to discuss this parking system.
I second.
Motion by Director Yazbek, second by Director Ross Back. Okay, yes, go ahead, Director Ross.
So, as a comment to this, I mean, our joint work session wasn't around parking, but it was discussed. It was about the mast heads, mast arms, thank you. And we really, while that, we know that's a priority for the city, we really think that parking is trumping that priority right now.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else that anybody wanted? to ask staff or comment on? Okay. So there is a motion on the table and a second. And seeing no other discussion, I will call for the vote on that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
What was the second one?
That was director break.
This is 4:30, it's the shortest meeting in record.
Okay, so,
Actually, I have enough here.
moving on. Item 11, you have 2 reports in front of you. You can review those at any time. If you have seen them already and have any questions, we could discuss them. Anything regarding those reports?
The question I have with the report is, and I'm not sure if this really falls into our report or the city's report, but I don't know when this was dated, so I just want, it says May 22, so I think our parking media was not in May, or if it might have been, it was in the end of May. So I just wondered why it wasn't in the report. So
Okay.
I don't know when that actually happened, so,
I can touch base with Simon
Okay.
on that.
okay.
Please do. Okay. Any other business to be brought to the table today? Seeing none,
Motion adjourned.
I have a motion by Director Riley to
Second.
adjourn, second by Director Rossmack. Before we do adjourn, I would just like to mention to the people that are at home watching this to, if they could, please check on the elderly and their neighbors,
Yes.
their friends, relatives, and such. Take the time to go and see if they're okay. We sure would appreciate that.
Agreed.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I will call for the vote. All those in favor to adjourn? Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes, and we are adjourned.